The British Prime Minister has arrived in Washington for his first official visit to the US. As well as meeting President Barack Obama, David Cameron has agreed to see 4 US senators to discuss allegations that BP lobbied for the release of the Lockerbie bomber to help its relations with Libya over oil. Senators from New York and New Jersey wanted to meet Mr Cameron over the release of Abdel Basset Ali al-Megrahi, who has prostate cancer. Mr Cameron had earlier refused a meeting, saying he couldn't fit it into a very full schedule in the US. To discuss the visit and the topics to be addressed, we're joined from our Washington studio by North America correspondent Craig McMurtrie. Craig, why has David Cameron now agreed to meet those US senators over the Lockerbie bomber?
Well, he's saying that he recognises that it's important for the families of the victims of the Pan Am disaster that he does sit down with the US politicians, but I think it's also a simple equation. He's a new Prime Minister. It is his first official visit to Washington, and his mind, as I'm sure, felt that it wasn't such a good thing for a 44-year-old new British Prime Minister coming to Washington in one of his first acts to give 4 rather powerful US senators the cold shoulder. So now he has agreed, as you've said, to sit down with them. They're going to do that at the British ambassador's residence this evening.
Mr Cameron will also talk to President Obama about the Lockerbie situation and also about BP. What else is on the agenda, and what approach will David Cameron take to this first official visit to Washington and the President?
Well, the White House was saying yesterday that they'll definitely talk about Lockerbie. That's unavoidable. There are all these concerns here in America about the circumstances surrounding the release of the Lockerbie bomber and whether BP played a role in this, because in 2007 BP was lobbying for drilling rights in Libya, very lucrative rights. BP has, of course, denied any specific involvement in the circumstances surrounding the release of the Lockerbie bomber. But apart from that, they're going to talk about BP in general and what's going on in the Gulf of Mexico, still trying to contain this runaway well, Afghanistan, the global economy. But in terms of the approach David Cameron's going to take, it's really interesting. He's written a piece in the Wall Street Journal today where he is quite unsentimental about the alliance. He writes that this is a partnership of choice that serves our national interests, and that he is hard-headed and realistic about US-UK relations. And he says, I understand that we are the junior partner. Now, Barack Obama's advisers are saying privately that already the two men have struck up something of a rapport, that they get on well together, and there's a suggestion that certainly it's a warmer relationship than Barack Obama enjoyed with Gordon Brown.
Craig, finally, it's just been announced that an international conference in Kabul has endorsed a plan by President Hamid Karzai of Afghanistan to start peace talks with the Taliban. Is that something about which David Cameron and Barack Obama would be happy?
Well, I guess only they could answer that. But I think David Cameron, I don't think it's going to be a problem for either man, actually, because the in-principle agreement at this international conference in Kabul is broadly in line with certainly British thinking. David Cameron's flagged that he wants British troops out within 5 years, and they're talking about 2014 for this peace deal and for Afghanistan taking control of itself in security terms at this conference. But certainly they will be talking about that. The key thing from the US perspective is where General David Petraeus is on this, because such is Petraeus's political capital here in this town that wherever he is, that's where the administration's going to be. So that will be the key thing.
Craig McMurtrie in Washington, thank you.
Okay.